only just because of medical, but also people in pharmaceutical sales, they take a
Mhm.
coding class too.
Everything. I have my best friend's stepson is in medical equipment sales. And everything that he knows, and the more that he can know about medical billing and coding, which involves diagnoses and signs and symptoms and procedures and what's involved in them, gives him the ability to speak more intelligently with his customers. And you make that connection, and there's a respect level that automatically rises.
Agreed. Totally, I agree with you. Now, Shelley, Dr. Safian, what certifications should be pursued, to advance in the medical billing and coding industry for any position or financial increase, or if they want to advance in HIM or documentation?
Excellent question, because our industry does not require a license like RNs. When nurses go to nursing school and they graduate, they get their diploma or their degree, but they then have to sit for a nursing license, just like physicians have to sit for a license. We are not licensed, so that makes national certification very important. National certification is the top people in the industry saying this person knows their stuff. Okay. Now you can put on your resume that you have a certificate or an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree in a particular subject: medical billing and coding, health information management, healthcare administration. But we all know that different teachers teach differently, right? You all know that class where it was an easy A and you barely even just showing up and you got an A, right? I hate that, but it's true. All right. And then you had those teachers like me who say you will sweat and learn and in order to get a B and maybe an A, but you're going to learn something because that's why you're here. Okay. So when you have that degree, the degree is an icon of knowledge that you have reportedly received. But nobody really knows how much did you learn? What do you really know? What do you really understand? Right? Okay. It's important because you had to have that opportunity to learn in the first place. But then when you take that knowledge and take a national certification exam sponsored by either AHIMA, which is the American Health Information Management Association. I can send you that link too. Or the AAPC, which is the American Academy of Professional Coders. Those are the only two organizations that you want to get a certification from. There are a lot of fakes out there. So this is very important. When you sit and you take that exam and you pass, that is a separate organization that is embedded in the industry that says this person knows their stuff. This person knows what's necessary to do this job. Okay? So when you have both that degree, that associate's degree or bachelor's degree, and you pair that with a national certification like a CPC, Certified Professional Coder from AAPC. I'm sorry, but healthcare is nothing but initials. Okay. Or a CCS from AHIMA, that's Certified Coding Specialist. All right. That says this person knows what is required: anatomy and physiology, medical terminology, pharmacology, diagnosis coding, procedure code, the whole ball of wax. Okay. So I used to use the term good housekeeping seal of approval, but that doesn't really exist anymore. So, but this is an independent, you didn't pay tuition, you just paid an application fee, which you pay before you even walk in the room to take the test. So they have only the motivation and the need to put these credentials on people who do know their stuff and will contribute to the improvement and betterment of our industry. Because that's where they get their reputation from. Okay? And like I mentioned, there are a couple of irreputable organizations out there. I will not name them but the point is other than AHIMA and AAPC that offer billing and coding certifications that are not worth anything. And people talk about them and promote them because they're easy to pass. My dog Roxy could pass, okay, which is great. So you put these initials on your resume and you think it's something, a reason to hire you, but instead it's a reason to take your resume and hit the delete key, because everybody in the industry that's at the level where they're an employer and in charge of hiring already knows that degree doesn't mean anything. Okay, or that certification doesn't mean anything. So yes, the exams are hard, but that's why they're so valued. And there are certifications specific to each one of the branches on our HIM tree. Coding, clinical documentation improvement, data analytics. AAPC has specialty certification, so it's not just coding in general. It's coding for an obstetrician, gynecologist, or coding for a psychiatrist or a radiologist or something like that. So, but the point is you have to start somewhere. So you got to get one. The question is, which one will you sit for first? And then you can add. And it gets easier after the tests don't get easier, but it gets easier to apply and go do it because, but it's such an important acknowledgement of your true knowledge and your true experience.
Well, I get that. Certifications are on the rise anyway, so that's just in sync for the industry. So that I totally understand and encourage anyone listening, if this is something that you're interested in or considering, please take Dr. Safian's advice and research the certifications beyond the degree.
Absolutely. It will get you hired faster and at a higher salary rate when you have a national certification in addition to that degree. And one thing I want to take note is, because I hear it from my students all the time is, oh, I hate tests. I don't want to take a test. And, and I understand you're nervous because I was nervous. I was so nervous when I took my first coding certification that when they handed me the paper and told me that I passed, I didn't believe them. Because I saw congratulations. I thought they were congratulating me for taking the test. How congratulations, you tried, looking forward to you trying again, and I was already like 2/3 of the way to my car in the parking lot before I read the rest of it. And I went, oh my God, I passed. Okay. But here's the reason why we need to push past that. And it's a very personal reason. Okay. We work in healthcare. We work in not only managing your healthcare information, which all your physicians and therapists and everybody involved in your healthcare from the day you were born until the day you pass need that information so they can determine the most accurate diagnosis and the best treatment plan for your health. Okay? Don't you want the person in charge of collecting this and storing it and keeping it safe to know what they're doing? In addition, medical billers and coders are specifically responsible for the whole reimbursement process. Putting down that claim, sending it to your insurance company, so the insurance company will pay for your visit to the doctor or the hospital instead of you out of pocket. Okay. And And every one of us has certainly received that notice from the insurance company or the bill from the doctor's office saying your insurance company won't pay for this.
Yes.
So you have to, right? And what breaks my heart is when it's a low number, people pay it anyway because, well, my doctor wouldn't lie to me. Well, first of all, it's not your doctor, it's the coder. And second of all, maybe it's not lie, maybe it's incompetence, maybe it's fraud, maybe it's a human error. I don't know. But I want the best educated. I want somebody who knows what they're doing, so I don't get those, right? Because research has shown 85% of the time when a claim is denied and they send it back and say, kind of, no, we really want you to pay this, they go, oh, okay, and then they pay it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's an error. Sometimes it's a typo. Sometimes it's, I don't know what I'm doing, but I got this job because my mother knows the doctor and they needed somebody because the girl who used to work here is on return, whatever, okay? But you want for yourself to have billers and coders and health information management specialists working for your doctor and your hospital so you don't have to dig in your pocket when you really shouldn't have to.
True.
Okay.
Agreed.
And I'm a big believer, and I'm old enough to know it's true. What goes around comes around. So you have to work hard to be educated and trained and have the knowledge to do a good and accurate job so that you don't cause this heartbreak to someone else. Because we all know that. Okay, so you call the insurance company and they say, I don't know. And then you call the doctor's office and they say, I don't know. You have to talk to the insurance company. The insurance company says, well, that's what they said when they put and the person who's least qualified to have the conversation is having the conversation. Okay, so it's in your own best interest that if you're going to take this career path that you want to know all of this. And it's like I said, it certainly has that punch for helping you when you have that issue.
True. Very true. Now, Dr. Safian, what previous professional experience do you find beneficial for someone new or they're deciding to transition into the industry? What previous professional experience do you find beneficial?
Well, anything that is going to add to your knowledge of healthcare, medical terminology, anatomy is going to be beneficial. But you said specifically previous experience, and I see this as well, not necessary. It's not the experience, it's the knowledge and the skills that you need. Okay. And there are a lot of employers out there in healthcare, both hospitals as well as clinics and doctors' offices and nursing homes and rehab centers, and every place that has any kind of healthcare service needs one of us, at least one of us, okay? What they need is you to have knowledge and skills, and most employers will look for that degree, an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree, plus national certification as equal to 2 to 3 years experience.
Okay.
So if you see the help wanted classifieds, and they say 2 to 3 years experience, you should apply, because actually your experience in a quality classroom and that national certification that proves you know what you're doing is actually more beneficial to the employer than somebody who worked in a doctor's office for 3 years. Because, and this is the key point, you want to write this down for the next time you're on an interview, is the key point is you don't have to worry about me having picked up any bad habits at that other facility.
Good point.
I'm coming to you with industry, state-of-the-art, current knowledge and skills. Not somebody who went to school 3 or 4 years ago and doesn't know what MACRA is and isn't familiar with ICD-10 PCS or ICD-10 CM because it only was implemented at the end of 2016. Okay, so the freshness and the currency of your knowledge is actually more valuable to employers than if you worked actually somewhere else for 5 years or longer. But they don't necessarily know that, so you have to tell them that.
Got you. Okay. Well, that's a lot of wisdom shared, so thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Now, what led you to writing textbooks? Because you've written 7?
7.
7.
Yep.
Okay, so
number 7 just came out in January 2018.
Congratulations for that.
Thank you very much. And I am very proud of it. And I got to say, there's a lot in there that I learned from my students about what people need to understand. But going back to what led me, and this is one of my life tips. Okay, I'm going to insert here my life tip. Number 1 of my life tips is, when an opportunity presents itself, don't say no until there's something to say no to. All right, and now I'll tell you the story. All right, remember, and I told you the story before. I was teaching health insurance on Mondays and Wednesdays, and computers in healthcare on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I noticed that the textbook we were using in the computer class was riddled with errors. Oh my gosh, I have never seen so many typos in my life. And okay, so that's part 1 of this. Okay, so I used to smoke and then I quit. And I tried to continue to go out with my students during break, to hang out with them, because I really enjoyed that time together with them. But they were all smoking, and I had gotten to not like it anymore. So I started hanging out in the library with my friend who was the school librarian. And so when I would give my students a break, they would go out to smoke or go wherever, and I would go into the library. And this one particular day, I went into the library to hang out with my friend Nancy, and this gentleman was there, and she introduced me to him. His name was Ben, and he was the sales rep from McGraw-Hill Higher Education Publishing. And he was a fantastic guy. And so we were chit-chatting, and I said to him, and this is exactly what I said. I said, Ben, I don't know if you care, but I found a lot of errors in this particular textbook, which was a McGraw-Hill textbook. And he looked at me and he said, yes, because I was kind of, like, not my job. I'm the salesperson. I'm not editorial or something like that. And he said, absolutely not. He said, we definitely want to know. He said, as a matter of fact, for every book we publish, we keep this file. And when information comes in on an error, we stick it in the file. And then when we go to if we do a new edition of that book, we pull that out. So he handed me his card and he said, please email me with whatever you found. So I did. And I sent him an email that was probably 12 pages printed out. And I detailed everything, on page 5. 3rd paragraph, 2nd line, 4th word. That's not how you spell that, And I went through meticulously on everything that I found. And he responded and he said, thank you so much. And then a couple of days later, he emailed me and he said, I forwarded your email to our managing editor. And he said to say thank you very, very much. And he also wanted me to tell you that we're always looking for new authors. So if you have any ideas, please let me know.
Love it.
Okay, so now back to the fact that I said I was teaching in health insurance on Mondays and Wednesdays and computers on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And one thing that I noticed was that the students who were taking both classes at the same time, as opposed to one last semester and another this semester or next semester, all right, actually did better in both classes because they understood why this would go in this field on the claim form in the software. And, oh, that's why I have to know this about the insurance because it has to go on the claim form, which I learned in the computer class. So they were fitting things together and it made so much more sense. And so I kind of wrote up this proposal and I said, how about if we had a textbook that put both of these things together in one book? You know, and I sent it to him and they said, great idea, we love it. And a week or so later, I had an interview, if you will, conversation with the managing editor. And then, I had to write a table of contents and start the process. And a year later, the book was born. And I want you to know clearly, and this is what I meant by when an opportunity presents itself. If you would have asked me the day before if I ever saw myself writing a textbook, I would laugh and say, me write a textbook? I don't know how to write textbooks. It just naturally evolved.
7 textbooks later.
Yes, 7 textbooks later. I love it. It's very hard work, but it's a labor. It's like teaching. You don't do it for the money. You do it because you really have to. And that's, considering this is a career podcast, I want to tell you that deep in my soul, not even just my heart, my soul, I truly believe that that everybody is here to accomplish something. And when you find out what that is, you will not be able to contain yourself, okay? Although some people do talk themselves out of it, okay? They talk themselves out of it because, oh, it doesn't pay that much, or, I won't get rich, or whatever it is. And that's the thing about finding your passion. Money becomes secondary, okay? So whatever it is, and there are people doing things for a living that are the most incredible, ridiculous, like people can make money doing that, okay? So whatever it is you love to do, you can make a living doing that, okay? But that's what you need. All those grumpy, mean people you always see out there? They're the ones that are sitting on their couches or out there, sadly, working retail or in restaurants that are just so mean and nasty. That's because they have denied themselves the opportunity to find their passion and make their life doing it. Now, it's not always easy, and sometimes you have to have like a real job while you're getting this job on its way. Okay, it takes time.
It does take time.
Yes, it takes time. It takes energy, but that passion fuels it. Okay, it's not easy. This book that I wrote, that was just released in January, is 1,700 pages, 40 chapters. And it was a labor of love. And am I going to tell you that there were not pain and suffering and tears and yelling, mostly by myself in my office, it was all there, okay? Think about having a baby. Having a baby is one of the most wonderful things that can happen, right?
Yeah.
But labor ain't no fun, hon. And when you're writing a book, you're not even allowed to have sedation because it's really hard to write when you're sedated. So, but it's just like giving birth. My point is that whatever it is, start finding a way to make money. And maybe this week it's only $10, but then next week it could be $25 and then $25,000. And the next thing you know, you're making enough to quit your day job. And then you can spend your life being happy. And even in the meantime, being happy at doing whatever it is can keep you sane when you're doing the job for money. Okay. but you owe it to yourself, whatever it is. Do not pursue something and you go, oh my God, I have to go to that job today. How many sick days do I have left? Okay. That is not why you're here on this earth, in my belief. And you can find that happiness.
It just takes time and dedication, commitment, confidence. That's why I'm a big advocate of career confidence, hence me focusing on professional development, because I strongly believe that professional development builds your career confidence for you to know that you dream it, you can do it. It is all within your reach. Of course, knowing your industry, right? Being wise, being strategic, being knowledgeable, and being dedicated to what you know you can do, and being realistic at the same time. Do you need to go get that certification? If you want to conquer, like you're saying right now through this interview, you're like, great, you have the degree, but the deal breaker, the game changer is getting that AHIMA certification.
Exactly. And that's going to put your resume on the top of the pile. Okay. So you're going to let a $200, 3-hour, 4-hour exam put a screeching halt to your opportunities. That's you. That's not the world. Okay. The truth is that and I know you probably heard this a million times, but when it really means something, it's not easy. You need that determination. And that's actually what my quote is about, but my favorite quote. But I love these examples. If it wasn't for Thomas Alva Edison inventing the light bulb, we wouldn't be here, because you need that electricity and the light. I usually say we'd all be sitting here in the dark, but we're on a computer right now, which also needs that. Okay. But also Mr. Hershey, of chocolate fame, I forget his first name. Most people don't know that he filed bankruptcy 7 times within 10 years in trying and trying and trying again. He finally made a success. Do you know what his success was?
No, what was it?
Not chocolate. Caramel.
Really?
He made his first success in caramel and then branched out to chocolate. And now he's got a whole city in Pennsylvania named after him, not to mention a theme park and, a woman's favorite best friend, right? Chocolate. So the fact is Thomas Alva Edison had to failed 1,000 times before he found the light bulb that worked. Would anybody call him a quitter if he would have quit after 10 times, 100 times, 500 times? I'm sure his wife was like, Thomas, you get in here, forget about that nonsense. It's never going to work. Okay. I don't know that she did that. Maybe she was supportive. I don't know. But the point is that you need that determination to get you through not only your failures, which you learn from if you're smart, okay, but also to keep at bay the naysayers in your life, because everybody has them. Everybody has people go, what are you kidding? Really? You're doing that for a living? Can people make money doing that? No. Or, oh, you need to go into the family business. Or, oh, no, you need to go to this. Okay. No. Your soul decides what you need to do, and you need that determination to make it happen. And if you go and you sit for the coding certification, the CCS or the CPC, and you don't pass the first time, what do you got to do? Take it again. Okay? Study harder and take it again. You got to study to pass that class. And my favorite excuse, and that is sarcastic. I'm so busy. I work full time and I'm going to school and I have a family and okay. Well, you know what? Somehow, if you want it bad enough, you find a way. Okay. Take online classes. You don't have to get a babysitter. Once the kids go to sleep, you can do your homework. All right. Also, the other one that I find is, I'm too old to go back to school. So there's an episode, and I know it's on rerun, so this is not such an old reference. The Golden Girls. Have you ever seen that, Michelle?
Yes,
okay.
I have.
Okay, so you know Sophia, the little old lady, the 83-year-old, and so when she was like 79, she said to her daughter Dorothy, B. Arthur, and she said, "I have made up my mind. I am going to law school." And Dorothy looked at her and she says, "Ma," you know how she says, "Ma, you'll be 83 when you graduate." And she looks at Dorothy and she says, "I'll be 83 anyway."
Touche.
So why not be 83? So your choice is not how old are you. Your choice is in 5 years, please God, you're still alive. So you could be 83 with a law degree or 83 without a law degree. The choice is not, I'm going to be 83, so they're not going to give me the law degree. If you study and you pass the classes, you get the degree.
True.
Okay? So when people tell you no, you just say, "Thank you for sharing. I'm going to try anyway." Because there's no reason to say no to trying. And if you get in there and you take a couple of classes and you decide this is not for me, so then you find what is. That's one of the great things about school is you get to like taste test a lot of different things,
Very true.
It's all part of the equation.
You need the career lessons from trying.
Absolutely. We learn more from our failures than we do our successes.
Very true. Now, Dr. Safian, networking. I know I witnessed you be a very savvy networker, and I've witnessed you encouraging your students and teaching them and telling them about a networking event, going to the networking event with them and showing them how to network, teaching them how to introduce themselves or, what to say in the conversation, to be confident and things of that nature. And some people, they are fantastic at networking. They don't need a coach on site, And
Right.
Some people, they might need a little insight. So I just wanted to touch on every possible aspect of networking just briefly. So, because we know it's essential. So what are a few things professionals should keep in mind when they're networking in the within the industry for medical billing and coding or documentation or HIM? Like what are some things?
Okay, well, first, in this particular case, showing up is 90% of the thing. Okay, and that means showing up to, again, AHIMA and AAPC are the two industry organizations. They both have local chapters. AHIMA also has state chapters. AAPC doesn't have a state level. And then, of course, they both have national. These give you lots of opportunities to network, and it should not wait until you're a professional. You should go when you're a student. Okay, as you said, I used to tell that to my students, because sitting at an interview saying, "Oh, hi, Ms. Batty, remember me? I met, you probably don't remember me, but we met at the HEMA convention in Orlando 6 months ago." That is a much better way to start than two strangers talking over a desk or on the phone, because it tells that employer, this is a person who really is interested in learning and keeping their knowledge up to date. Okay? I know a lot of people find this hard to believe, but when I walk into a room where I don't know anybody at all, I'm very shy. I'm very intimidated. I know, but it's true. It's true. But the way I come over that, well, first of all, especially if you're a student, find a buddy and, go together, and that makes it easier. But even if you're going to go by yourself, go. All right. And then what I do is, oh, did I mention there's always food at these meetings and it's free? Okay. So I'll just kind of make a comment to the person standing next to me online at the food. I'll make a joke, or I'll say, "Oh, what did you see? What are they? Is it pizza or is it hoagies or heroes or subs or whatever, wherever you are?" Just find anything, and then all of a sudden you have somebody to talk to. And it makes it a little easier. And then the next time you go, you start to see familiar faces. Even if you can't do it, if you just go and you sit there, the second time you go, it'll be easier. And the third time you go, it'll be a little easier. You don't have to go every time, but you need to go, because there's important information, including job openings that you get to know before they're even published on Indeed or anything like that. And like I said, there are people there who will eventually become your peers, become your colleagues, and sometimes become your friends. And I'm amazed at people I know all over the country, just from going to a meeting once a year, a conference once a year, or a couple of local meetings or things like that. So when I say 90% of networking is just showing up, I'm gosh dang serious. You just gotta, just go. And then once you experience it, it's not so scary anymore. And then you feel more comfortable and you start to talk to people. And the next thing you know, you're volunteering to present. And then the next thing you know, people who don't know you walk up to you and say, "Oh, I'm so glad to meet you. I wanted to meet you." I was at an AAPC conference here in Orlando in April. And I'm very active in AHEMA, but I'm not very active in AAPC. I maintain my certifications. And so I was kind of, glad. I was going, nobody knows me here. And this woman walks up to me and she says, "Are you Shelley Safian?" And I said, "Yes." And she says, "Oh, my boss told me to find you. We want to know if you could come speak to our local group in Tampa." And I'm like, I don't have any idea what these people are, but that's how it progresses. Now, I've been doing this for almost 20 years, so I'm way ahead of you there, all right? But it all started with going to that one local meeting or that state conference, okay? And when you start with the local chapters, they're not very far away. So it's not like you have to fly across the country and take time off from work. They're usually in the evenings. And then when you can, volunteer. That's another big thing, huge thing, okay? Now, again, yes, I can hear you all. I can hear you through the internet. "Oh, I'm so busy. I don't have time to volunteer." Okay, well, you know what? Everybody is busy. Some people are actually more busy than you. Busier. They don't let me teach English for a reason. Okay. So the point is that because everybody's busy and we have this wonderful thing, right? Like Skype, there's Skype, there's conference calling. I am on 3-4 different committees. I don't leave my house. I have a conference call for 1 hour once a month. You can't do that? You can do that. You can do that. Okay? And you don't volunteer for more than you know you can accomplish. But sometimes just being a part of the committee is, again, put your toe in the water. Just get started. And then the next thing you know, you'll be the chair of the committee. And then the next thing you know, they'll be nominating you for president. Not of the United States, of the organization. I wouldn't want to be president of the United States. So that's how it starts. Just go, show up, say, "Oh, that's interesting. I could do that. I could make a phone call for free once a month It's that easy.
And what are some volunteer opportunities within the industry?
Oh, they really vary. First of all, the state chapters of AHIMA and, of course, the national of both organizations have annual conventions. And there are a lot of, it's like a wedding, it's like a 5-day wedding, only without a bridezilla. But sometimes you have an executive director, Brazilla. I don't know. I'll work on that. Anyway, the point is you can volunteer to work on the program committee. You can. I was chair of the continuing education committee for the Florida Health Information Management Association, which is a state component of AHIMA, and I did that for 5 years. And you might say, well, how did you do that? While teaching a full schedule and writing a 1,700-page book. Well, because I never had to leave my house. I created online courses, and I worked on details over the phone. Or email. Email is also very big. Okay. So there's the continuing education chair for people who might be interested in politics. Every organization has a legislative and regulatory committee that you can volunteer. I have a good friend who was and actually is still on the legislative committee, and they go to Hill Day. They go to, in Florida, they go to Tallahassee and wherever the capital is. They do this all over the country, so it doesn't matter what state you're in. And they actually have appointments with the senators and the congressmen to talk about issues that are important and laws that are being brought up that are important to health information management and coding and what we do. And actually, I just attended a meeting where they showed pictures and talked about the Hill Day, which they just did in March here in Florida. And it was very interesting. And I was very glad I didn't go because I hate politics. So I would never be a good member of that committee. But the people who did volunteer for that committee had a wonderful time, and they were really interested. And as a matter of fact, they got to, I don't know if influence is the right word, I think educate. Because remember that senators and congressmen, whether on a state level or the national level, do not know anything about medical billing and coding and health information management. Please. Okay? So these people got appointments with senators and congressmen, and they got to sit down with them for 15 minutes and explain, Senator, we know about this bill that is coming up for a vote. We want to explain to you our position of why it's a good thing or why it's not such a good thing. So that was a great experience for them. And so there are all kinds of committees that I'm sure would match up with. There's a mentoring committee where you partner experienced, seasoned professionals with those students who are just graduating and crossing over from student to professional. And so there are a lot of, whatever your interest is in the particular area, we have room for you.
Fantastic. Now, Dr. Safian, how do you stay current with everything going on in your industry? Because it's constantly evolving. So how do you stay current?
And that's one thing I love about it, because I get bored easily. Two things. Number one, I go to meetings and I listen to presentations, okay? And, okay, so a lot of them I only listen with one ear, but some of it actually gets to stay in my head. The other thing I do is I have signed up for several industry email newsletters. Now, I see I can hear you through okay, I can hear you and go, I don't have time to do my life right now, much less read 7 email newsletters. Well, I don't read them. I read the headlines, and then if I see something that's of interest to me or connects with something I'm teaching or speaking about or writing about, then I'll read the whole article. But you would be amazed at how much you can get just from looking at the headlines. And the fact that they are constantly coming in my email and I have to look at them before I determine whether to delete it or save it gives me enough time to really absorb, like I said, that little taste. It is like, oh, well, that has nothing to do with me. I'm not interested in that. Delete. Okay. And then the next one is like, I just found out that they are working on and have already done prototypes of this. They're making dentures with a 3D printer.
Love it.
And they found a way to infuse antibiotics into the denture to prevent infections in the patients. I got to tell you, I can't wait to go for my next cleaning because I want to talk about this with my dentist. I know, he already knows I'm a little, But the point is that there were probably 10 headlines that I read that I just deleted and I was just like not interested, okay? But that helps me get at least a little taste of what's going on. And then if I encounter a situation where I need that knowledge, I remember reading something about it, and then I go Google it and find out more as much as I need. And it's really that easy.
I love it. Now, what mindset and success moves have contributed to your success and to those you have taught?
Again, the key word is determination to get it done. Okay, you got to try. If you don't try, you definitely got it wrong. I mean, whether it's taking a test or working on a project or something like that. Another thing is time management is absolutely positively. And I know that this is inherent. Okay. There are people who are born with the ability to do time management. There are people who are born that no matter how many times you teach them how to read a clock, even a digital clock, they just are always late. I understand this. Okay. But when you are a professional, regardless of whether you're entry level or at the highest ranks, you need to be able to get everything done. And remember, I said before, and I said it because it's true, everybody is busy. That's the reason busy is a 4-letter word. By the way, life is also a 4-letter word. Okay, so you have to find a way to get it all done. Sorry, I'm busy. I'm too busy is not going to cut it. Okay. So if you're one of those people that happen to be time dysfunctional, then you need to take a class or read a book in time management. Oh yeah, I know. You don't have time. Do it online. I'm sure there's a YouTube video. But the fact is you have to make that effort. You have to be determined to get it done. Okay. There are apps that'll remind you. I love my little alarm apps in my phone. I would say determination and time management, and stop finding reasons that you can't do something, and instead spend that time finding reasons why you can do it. Okay. And I don't mean to simplify, but it's really that simple.
Simple is good. Simple is good.
Well,
yeah, indeed. Now, Dr. Safian, what's next? Because you have so many accomplishments and you're constantly learning. So what's next for you as you broaden your impact on the industry for HIM?
Well, I just began, and this is actually a good story. Last year, I volunteered. Actually, I got volunteered. I really don't even know how I became a member of the AHIMA Foundation Research Network, but somehow I got on this committee, and they just sent me an email and said, "Thanks for joining our committee." I was like, "Did I? Okay, I don't know." But anyway. And last year, all I did was attend and listen, sort of, while I multitasked. to a conference call all year. And then they said, thanks for being on our committee again this year. Okay. And I felt really guilty that I don't feel that I really contributed anything last year. And so this year, I actually volunteered to be the lead investigator on a research project. We're going to be studying the effect or the impact of classes in health information management and billing and coding on all online as 7 weeks long and 15 weeks long, to see if the length of the course, how the length of the course, if the length of the course impacts the student's ability to get an education. And I'm very excited about that. So that's what I have a committee of about 12 people that that are working with me to work on this research project. We hope to get it done by December. That is our goal, and hopefully we'll get it published. And then after that, who knows what's going to walk in my front door? It doesn't. It really kind of comes in the email box. Oh, Shelley, can you do this? Will you do this? Okay.
But you position yourself for that. You position yourself to be an opportunity magnet. So you're reaping that. You're attracting that to yourself.
Thank you. And yes, and that is by design. And you know, and again, you network and you volunteer and you get your certifications, and then people kind of sort of know who you are, and then they will, you know, actually there was a while there where I was feeling like, oh, we need something done. Oh, Shelley will do it. Just ask Shelley. And I do say no. It's kind of really hard for me to say no, but I have indeed used the no word. But honestly, I learned so much from these opportunities, and it's something new that, yes, that's exactly what has happened is I have positioned myself to be known so that people can ask me, like exactly this moment, right? Is you and I haven't seen each other for years, and then you saw me on LinkedIn, and then you messaged me through LinkedIn, and here we are. And so having a LinkedIn profile has enabled me to have this opportunity with you. And that's fantastic.
It is fantastic, and thank you. Now, what has this career path that's taught you so much, but what has it taught you the most that you cherish? Because you love what you do.
I do love what I do, and I cherish the fact that I can wake up every morning and say, oh, goody, I get to go do this. And I know it's not something that a lot of people get to say. And by the way, this is my third industry that I've had a successful career in. Knock on wood.
That's awesome.
When I was 7, people said to me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to make TV commercials. And see, okay, this is really a good lesson because I am proof. All right. My bachelor's degree is in communication design from Parsons School of Design. And my first career, which I was successful in, was in advertising and marketing. And I even owned my own ad agency and hit my $1 million mark, which is what was one of my goals. Yay! And then the recession came and things changed, and then I was driving down the interstate coming from a meeting about NFL merchandise to talk to a clothing designer and producer about doing an NFL girls line. And as I was driving back to the office, and I swear to God, I had my window open in my car, but I swear this flew in the car into my head. And I said, well, what if we had a line of clothing that instead of giving royalties to the NFL, rich football players, we gave the royalties to charitable organizations? And because I had always volunteered with charity, that's how my parents brought me up. And so less than 6 months later, I opened a second company and started a clothing line for toddlers and young children that was made out of recycled fabrics that gave 5% off the top to one of three environmental organizations. One was to save the rainforest, one was to save dolphins, and one was to save the wetlands. And the hang tag, if you mailed it in, became a certificate that you contributed to saving 5 square feet of rainforest land or wetlands, or you adopted a dolphin.
Love that.
And I made those arrangements with the actual organizations. You know, it was for real. Yes. So then I proceeded to run and activate a clothing manufacturing company when all I knew was I learned how to sew in the Girl Scouts. So I had to learn all about clothing manufacturing and fabrics and then of course marketing the line and everything. And I did get my line of clothes in JCPenney's and Nordstrom's and Kids R Us and a chain of stores in Japan.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And then my partner, who I brought in because he had apparel business knowledge and experience, stole a real lot of money from me, and I had to go out of business. Yeah, and that's the business side. Yes, So, and I realized, it's interesting that I realized that even though I have great ideas and I know a lot of stuff about business and how to run a proper business, I am not cut out to be a businesswoman because I am too empathetic. And I realized this when I was talking to a boutique shop about carrying my line of children's clothing, and the store owner said to me, "Well, I don't think I can afford to bring on a new line right now." And I said, "Oh, I totally understand. Well, you know, we can negotiate a better price for you, so let me know when you have the money." And we hung up. And the minute I got off the phone, my business part of my brain kicked in and said, "No, when somebody says you can't afford it, a good salesperson tells you why you can't afford not to do it." But I felt this woman's pain. You know, she was a businesswoman. She was struggling with financial issues, and I wasn't about to put more stress or more pressure on her. So then I realized that even though I'm gregarious and I talk a lot and I may be enthusiastic, which can be contagious, I ain't no saleswoman. And that's when I came to teaching, because I love to share knowledge. And whether you buy the product or not, I don't care. Although I do take it very personally. My student success, I take it very personally. I consider them paying their tuition as paying for a product. And even though they don't often realize that that product has knowledge and skills, a lot of them think, or at least superficially think, that what they're buying is a degree. That associate degree or that bachelor's degree that's going to change their lives. But that's actually not true. It's the knowledge and the skills that you get in school that give you success after graduation. And that degree, that associate degree or that bachelor's degree, is an emoji. It's nothing more than an icon. It's not the real feeling, but it represents the feeling. When it comes to a degree, it's not the degree. It's the knowledge and experience, the knowledge and skills that degree represents that will get you hired. And then if you show up to your new job and you don't have the goods, you're going to get found out and then you'll get fired. And those are those people that can't seem to keep a job. Even though they have that bachelor's degree from that very good school, they can't seem to keep a job because they winged their way through classes. They did the least amount possible to pass. Or they had teachers who said, well, you paid your tuition, so here's your B or here's your A, which to me is stealing. So the point is that that's where it all starts, is that knowledge and that skill level. And that's what's going to give you your goal, your passion, your opportunity.
I understand.
I know I kind of got off on it happens. I'm a teacher. I talk.
Well, Dr. Safian, I appreciate you being a guest on the Career Tipper podcast. It's so awesome for this full circle moment with you. And before you go, we end each episode with a signature affirmation or quote that's important to the guest. So please share what your favorite quote or affirmation is that keeps you creating career tipping moments.
Thank you. I do have one, and I'm going to read it because it's a little long. It's a quote from Calvin Coolidge. I did not know him personally. Okay. Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. Talent, genius, education are components, but they don't come quickly. And that's where the persistence and the determination are mandatory to accomplish your goal. And one more quick one. It's an old Chinese proverb that says, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with just one step. So whatever it is you want to do, whatever it is you want to be, whatever it is you want to grow up to be, growing up is not required, by the way, just do it. Nike.
Dr. Safian, how can the listeners get in touch with you?
They can email me at, and you'll probably have to put this in your notes because it's safian@embarkmail.com. And Embarkmail is M as in Mary, B as in boy, ARQMAIL.com.
Awesome.
Okay. I'll send that to you in the email with those other links so you can put it in the notes.
Thank you. That is going to be
from you.
Thank you so much. And listeners, you can find me, Michelle Beatty, at careertipper.com, on Instagram at Career Tipper, Facebook Career Tipper, and on Twitter at Career Tipper1. You can also follow and subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, and Stitcher Radio. Thanks so much for joining today, and remember to be confidently you.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Career Tipper Podcast. We're grateful for our listeners and guests. For more resources about how to evolve to your professional best, share your comments and feedback about this episode and your suggestions for future guests, visit careertipper.com. Until next time, be confidently you.